Well-renowned NBA analyst and insider calls for a trade to be made between Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. I'll break down this report on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, remember to subscribe to the channel, as 95% of you guys currently watching are not subbed. It means a lot to us over at Heat Digest, as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Now let's get to it and break down the idea of Jimmy Butler's trade possibilities. Now, where is this all coming from? Today, around 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, Kendrick Perkins went on to NBA Today and was asked about the Miami Heat and their problems and what they should possibly do to resolve these things. He said, and I quote, "It's time for the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler to go their separate ways. They need to trade him to a team that can compete for a title this season. They aren't going to go on a run again." Now, I absolutely hate this idea from Kendrick Perkins, and I'll explain why in this video. I don't think Jimmy Butler is a replaceable asset, regardless of it being the Miami Heat or any of the NBA teams in the association. Why do I say that? His numbers don't jump off the page at you. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 50%. He is 34 years of age, which is considered closer to older in the NBA, but again, he still has a handful of years left as long as he wants to play the game of basketball, obviously. But he is more than just the stats. When he was in Minnesota, when he was in Philly, when he was in Chicago, and now when he's in Miami, he is more than just the stats. He is an energy guy. He has an attitude about him, and a good one at that. I don't mean that negatively. When he walks in the room, people know he's never not going to be seen. He's never not going to be heard. He leads by example, and he leads in a way that really can't be replicated. He fits in so well with the Miami Heat culture. I don't understand how the Miami Heat would even think or comprehend the idea of possibly replacing him. Now, obviously, if we did end up attempting to move Jimmy Butler, again, I'm not rooting for this idea. I don't think it'll ever happen, especially this year. But if we did, we would ask for an entire organization in return. That just seems like the appropriate price tag, in my opinion. Jimmy Butler, like I said, he is more than just the stats he gives you. It's the energy, it's the leadership, it's being a role model, setting a culture, setting a tone amongst not just the players, but the entire organization in itself. Now, I'm gonna add an idea, and you guys let me know down in the comments if you agree with me. I think if we were going to make a trade in order to really resolve our problems, I think the name in which we trade is Tyler Herro. Now, why do I say this? He's much younger. He's a whole 10 years younger than Jimmy Butler, but the numbers are basically identical, and I'll show you Jimmy's just to clarify. 21.5 points from Tyler Herro, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, while shooting 43% from the field. Again, he is only 24 years old and has been in the league for 4 years. Only 4 years, all of them being in Miami. Now, here is Jimmy Butler's stats once again. Basically identical. Everything besides the shooting percentages. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and again, 49% from the field for Jimmy Butler. So the stats are pretty much identical. But I ask you guys this question. The Miami Heat have lost now 7 games in a row, and it has not been pretty from the first game that we lost to this point now. We've lost to teams like the Memphis Grizzlies, who didn't have Ja Morant. We got beat by a bunch of role players because Jaren Jackson, the best player on the Memphis Grizzlies, did absolutely nothing in that game besides get dominated by Bam Adebayo. We lost to the Hawks without Trae Young. We lost to the Toronto Raptors basically the day after they traded their best player in Pascal Siakam to the Indiana Pacers. And it's not because we can't outscore these teams. We currently have 4 players that average 20 or more points a game just in our starting rotation. Terry Rozier, Tyler Herro, Bam Adebayo, and Jimmy Butler are all 20-point per game or more scores per game. Why are we losing these games? We can't stop anything. We can't, on the defensive side of the ball, we are abysmal. And that is not going to change until we accept the challenge or add a little bit of defense. We need the rim protection. If we were to trade Tyler or Jimmy, you guys know my price tag for Jimmy. I want an entire team. Give me the entire organization. I want everything. But Tyler, again, he's 10 years younger than Jimmy Butler. And the stats are basically identical. The only difference is the age. Yes, they play different positions. Tyler can play the 1 or the 2. Jimmy plays really the 2 or the 3. It's about a 2-inch height difference. That's all that really comes with it. If we move Tyler Herro, that price tag would be absolutely ridiculous. And I have a list of players that we could possibly trade for with Tyler Herro at the focal point of that trade. Again, we would have to break down contracts and the other teams that we'd have to deal with. We'd have to look through all of the numbers and everything like that. But Alex Caruso, another guard, I don't think that's the greatest decision, but defensive-minded guard, doesn't do a lot offensively because we wouldn't ask him to do it, but also he's not known as an offensive player. Patrick Williams, another Bull. Jabari Smith from the Rockets, young player, power forward, really good defensively, has great length. Again, decent offensively. He's going to develop and have a greater game as the years go on because he is so young. But again, great defensive option. Roy Hachimura. The Lakers are looking to make a splash. They need three-point shooting, especially for LeBron James. Tyler Herro is shooting excellent from catch-and-shoot positions this year. He'd fit in great in Los Angeles. The last few names, I know these names are wild to think that possibly landing in Miami, but the rookie from Detroit, Jalen Duren, he's a monster, and I know he had a great game just a few nights ago, 21 points and 22 rebounds, simply fantastic. But he's a great defensive option, and he rebounds the ball extremely effectively. A rookie, I don't think the Detroit, I almost called them Detroit Pistons, or the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Pistons, I don't believe they'd give up, but if we offered someone like Tyler Herro and Nikola Jovic, maybe they'd pull the trigger, or maybe Herro and Caleb Martin. I'm just throwing it out there, and again, it wouldn't be a straight-up trade because then we'd lose that. We'd arguably lose that trade. But again, Nick Claxton, Daniel Gatford, Jonas Valanciunas, and Andre Drummond are all possible options that we could move someone like Tyler Herro for, because Tyler Herro is going to move the needle for a lot of these teams, especially even contenders like the Lakers. Again, we would have to look at contracts. We would have to look at total trades and what we would give up and what we'd be getting back in order and see really if we're winning or losing these moves. But again, if you guys want to see us do that, let us know down in the comments. Possibly break down a few trade scenarios with the people that are players that I just mentioned. But again, the main reason I'm calling for Herro to be moved, because the idea of us moving one of these blockbuster names in Butler or Herro or whoever it may be, Herro is much closer to replaceable than Jimmy Butler. Jimmy does much more than the numbers show, and Tyler Herro, again, hasn't been great on the defensive side of the ball since he was drafted. Yes, I know he's done a better job this year. He's done a great job in really developing his game overall this year, but he is not on the level of Jimmy Butler. I don't believe he ever will get there. I know Jimmy has a 10-year stand on him as he's 10 years older, but again, defense is not something that like you can really develop, at least not when you're at the level of Jimmy Butler. I don't believe Tyler can develop into that level of defender, and it'd just be interesting to see. The last point I'm going to show you guys is the plus minus. Here is Jimmy Butler's plus minus this season. He is at plus 36. Now, Tyler Herro is far from Jimmy Butler. It's minus 69 for Tyler Herro. Just not great for Tyler Herro. It's not a great showing in the sense that it does not look good, and it all comes down to the defensive side of things with this whole argument for me. I believe that Jimmy Butler is way too irreplaceable. Tyler Herro is definitely irreplaceable in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments if this is a crazy idea. Overall, I don't think Jimmy Butler's getting moved. But again, would you rather move someone like Tyler Herro and bring in a lot of defense in order to help this team win, as we've been struggling on the defensive side of things? Thanks for watching on this episode. You'll catch me on the next one.